Do you feel like you must work harder in a group because of your gender?
No, I'm strongly disagree because until now I'm not facing the problem of must work harder in a group because of I'm a female.
Have you even lost the chance to take important or leadership role in group work because of your gender?
I have no experience losing the chance to take important leadership roles in the group because of my gender.
Do you experience gender discrimination during your group work? If so, could you provide an example or stand regarding your experience? If not, could you provide an example based on your observation?
No, I have no experience the gender discrimination during my group work before. Provide an example based on my observation. I have no any idea of it.
Do you agree that the inequality occur between different gender during the group work?
Yes, I agree. Although I'm not experienced this before, but I still remember there is an equality occurs between the genders in the group work.
In your experience, do both male and female receive an equal distribution of workload in a group work?
Yes, most of the time, based on my experience, males and females receive the equal distribution of workload.
So, do you agree you have been treated unfairly in your group because of your gender?
No, I'm strongly disagree with that.
Okay, and then in your group, which gender tends to take on the majority of the tasks?
Until now, all genders, no matter female or male, all have equal distribution on tasks.
Alright, so how do you think gender stereotypes influence group dynamics and interactions within group work?
In my opinion, if in a group with gender stereotypes, for example, the male student may look down on the female student, when this happens, the interaction between the group members will become a problem because whatever ideas or opinion provided by the female student will not be taken into the consideration by those female member or ignored by them. This will affect the mental health of the female student as well because they will feel stress, anxiety, and depressed when working together with them.
In your opinion, how does gender diversity or the lack thereof impact the overall effectiveness of group work?
In my opinion, gender diversity is important for overall effectiveness of group work because the interests of male and females are different. And then in their daily life, female and male may focus on different things, so they may have different points of view, perspective and opinions, which can give the contribution to the group work. And then the female student can learn from the male student, and also male student can learn from the female students. I think that lack of gender diversity may have lower the effectiveness of the group work.
Okay, and for last question, what strategies, if any, do you think can be implemented to promote gender equality and fairness within group work environments?
In my opinion, the lecturer may play an important role in promote the gender equality and fairness within the group work environment. For example, the lecturer can constantly asking the female student to know whether they get different treatment in the group. That's all from me.
Do you feel like you have to work harder at group work because of your gender?
Neutral, it depends on the productivity of the group member, but based on my experience in group work, I feel that most boys tend to be free rider in group assignment.
Okay, have you ever lost the chance to take important or leadership roles in group work because of your gender, and why?
Never, because I think in the group we just choose the one as leader based on his or her leadership regardless of their gender. Or we just use the spin the wheel to choose the leader if no one stood up for the group to lead.
Do you experience gender discrimination during group work? If so, could you provide some example or instances regarding your experience? And if not, could you provide an example based on your observation?
Sometimes, in my opinion, I think gender inequality does exist among university students. For example, when some lecturers request there must be a mix of different gender in group work. Furthermore, there are also lecturers who tend to give more attention to group with boys instead of group with girls only.
So do you agree that inequality occurs between different gender during group work, and why do you think so?
Agree, because if the work requires a heavy workload, will automatically become a male job. If I think inequality does exist in this situation.
Okay, in your experience, do both males and females receive an equal distribution of workload in group work?
Yes, sometimes.
Do you feel like you have been treated unfairly in your group because of your gender?
I disagree.
In your group, which gender tend to take on the majority of the tasks?
Female most of the time.
How do you think about gender stereotype influence the group dynamic and interaction within the group work?
Yes, I believe gender stereotype can cause passive group dynamics, and interactions, as the group member might feel uncomfortable in the situations, which will slow down the productivity of the group.
In your opinion, how does gender diversity of the leg therefore impact the overall effectiveness of group work?
I know that the gender diversity does perform better than single gender team, but based on my experience, single gender team perform better so far in terms of effectiveness. In single gender team, some don't have free rider or passive member in the group work, as I do experience a positive group environment in those group assignments.
What strategy, if any, do you think can be implemented to promote the gender equality and fairness within group work environment?
To promote gender equality and fairness in group work, I think it's better to use the STEAM wheel to distribute work instead of personally choosing the part that they want to do for the assignment.
Do you feel like you must work harder in a group because of your gender?
In general, whether individual feels the need to work harder in a group due to their gender, I think gender is not an such a base to work in group, because when you work in group, you must work together, not because there's a gender. However, it is important to note that this experience can differ greatly between individuals that and across different social and cultural contexts, which is many societies are actively working towards reducing gender disparities and promoting equality in various domains, including the workplace. So for me, it is crucial to foster inclusive environment where everyone is valued and respected based on their skills, abilities, and contribution, rather than being in a work group.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So, have you ever lost the chance to take important or leadership roles in your group work because of your gender?
From my experience, I didn't have any of that, because I think in human society, gender bias and discrimination have historically been prevalent in many areas, including the workplace. For example, women in particular have faced barrier and bias that have limited their access to leadership position in various fields. As you know, in our stereotype or culture in this era, basically they have figured it out that women are not exclusive to have the leadership skills. So, what's to overcome this statement is we need to give more effort to promote gender equality and address this bias has been ongoing and progress has been made in many parts of the world. So, however, it is important to acknowledge that challenge and disparities can still exist, and there is ongoing work to ensure equal opportunities for individuals for all genders in this Malaysia.
So, do you experience gender discrimination during your group work? And if so, could you provide an example or instance regarding your experience?
I didn't have any of gender discrimination during group work, but for my observation, imagine there are multiple team members, right? Both male and female, collaborating on a project. Despite having an equal qualification and capabilities, the male team members consistently receive more opportunities to take on a leadership roles and make important decisions. Their ideas and contribution may be given more weight and credibility compared to the female counterparts. But in such instance, the female team members might need to work harder to prove their ability to overcome this barrier to face. They may need to assert themselves more assertively, provide distinct justification. So by doing that, I think efforts are being made to reduce gender discrimination and promote equality in many areas, inclusively in group work and for the leadership opportunity for female and male are both equal.
Okay, thank you. So, do you agree that inequality occurs between different gender during the group work?
I think yes, because in Malaysia we have such a big inequality occurs when we are working with group, because we have been in the stereotype where is women will work hard to do such a group work, and male are exclusively just giving an idea and just doing the leadership skills.
Okay. So, regarding your experience, do you think both males and females receive an equal distribution of workload in group work?
I think in the past experience, both male and female receive an equal distribution of work. I think students have a common sense of doing the group work.
Okay. Then, do you feel like you have been treated unfairly in your group because of your gender?
I think no, because I in my perspective, I see people are being treated when they are not doing their work. So that's
Oh, I see. Then, in your past group, which gender tends to take on the majority of the task?
I think females,
Why?
because female are more brilliant than male, because and they so hardworking, so they have so much effort to do the work and give 100% the task of the idea.
So, how do you think gender stereotypes influence group dynamic on and interaction within group work?
I think gender stereotype can influence in group dynamic because our stereotype in this Malaysia, which of they have and the stereotype of female are doing more work than male because female are very hardworking and can do more work than male can do.
So, in your opinions, how does gender diversity or the lack theory impact the overall effectiveness of group work?
In my opinion, I think that this gender discrimination is very effectiveness in the group work because they're not only gender because when we work in group work we must work together not because of our gender is different.
Okay. So, at the last, what strategy, if any, do you think can be implemented to promote gender equality and fairness within group work environments?
I think one of the best way to work in group, in order to promote group gender equality, when we divide the task, we are completely divide the task with a male and female, not doing the task of the only have two female in the task. So regarding this way, we can relate to each other. Why the male are lack of the ideas, why the female have more than ideas, so they can communicate and give some both ideas to improve their work environment.
Do you feel like you must work harder in a group because of your gender?
For me, I think neutral because it is like essential to create an exclusive environment where everyone is given equal opportunity and treated with fairness or respect, no matter what kind of gender you are.
So, have you ever
Okay.
lost the chance to take important or leadership roles in group work because of your gender?
Rarely, because it's in our group we all hold any position based on our strength or skill. Yeah, it's not like maybe you're a man you have to do more or you're female you have to do less.
So, do you have experience like gender discrimination during group work? Like, if so, could you provide an example or instance regarding your experience? But if not, could you provide an example based on your observation?
Interesting question, but I think for me no, but I think I can provide an example for my friends from my observation before. So I just call my friend as Jane. So she's like consistently put forward for well-reasoned ideas and contribute actively to the discussion for every Hams meeting. So her ideas are often like overlooked and dismissed by her female counterpart or her colleagues. So they tend to dominate in the conversation and reinforce each other points. So while the Jane are like contributions are undervalued and or interrupted. So despite of her effort to like as herself and present her idea, I think my friend James feel like struggles to have a voice and here like within group. So it's come to assigning tasks. So I think for me she like assuming she would be better suited them because of her gender. So the limits of her like opportunity to take on more challenging or leadership oriented tasks like preventing her from fully showcasing her capabilities and potential within the group. It's unfair for her.
Yeah, understood. So, do you agree that inequality occurs between different genders during group work?
Maybe neutral because like more of the strength or the heavy activities will be performed by males and while the females will do the light and easy activities. But for me this cannot say to like discrimination because we are like more out of respect to the female. Yeah, because maybe we throw the rubbish or the heavy thing the men will carry it. So for the female they will do the things like lighter. Yeah.
Okay. The fifth question is, in your experience, do both males and females receive an equal distribution of workload in group works?
And yes, most of the times equal wages should be assigned with equal work tasks, no matter what kind of gender you are. Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. The next question is, do you feel like you have been treated unfairly in your group because of your gender?
Disagree because we all play well together in our group, no matter what kind of gender you are. Yes, we just care about your strength, your skill.
In your group, which gender tends to take on the majority of the tasks, male or female, or equal distribution?
I think equal distribution because these are all based on our respective abilities and responsibility. The female have to pay more attention for an assignment, so the men can be take certain like free rider for men. Yeah, maybe they will take like they will have more responsibility to pay attention for an assignment, to check, to turn it in, like to compare all. Yeah, it's based on our respective abilities.
It's very good. Question is, how do you think gender stereotypes influence group dynamics and interaction within group works?
For me, gender stereotypes can like have a significant impact on our group dynamic and interaction within a group work. These stereotypes are like there are notions and expectations about how individuals should behave or perform based on their gender, like communication style or confidence and self-esteem. So, example for the communication style, the gender stereotype also like influence the within the group. So, for instance, like the women may be expected to be more nurturing, cooperative, and focused on building consensus, while the men will be like, expected to be assertive, competitive, and dominant. So this stereotype can be lead to the differences in communication patterns. So like some voices hear more than others or certain perspectives being unvalued and dismissed.
Okay, interesting. So, in your opinions, how does gender diversity or lack of gender impact the overall effectiveness of your group work?
For me, the gender diversity can provide groups and groups with a better understanding of the needs and preferences of diverse customer segments. Like women and men often have different experience, perspective, and insights to like. So having diverse representation within a group can help ensure the decision and strategies are better aligned to the target audience.
In your opinion, what strategies, like if any, do you think that can be implemented to promote the gender equality and fairness within group work environments?
I think education or awareness like campaigns is the most effective because like we can promote through the gender bias stereotypes and their impact on our group like conduct a workshop and training sections and discussion to help the team members recognize their own biases and understand the importance of gender equality in the group work and also the equal participation and voice. We can create an inclusive environment that encourage the equal participation and voice to all the group members. So to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute to discussion and share the ideas and provide the input. At least we can say like facilitate an open and respectful communication culture that value diverse perspective.
Do you feel like you must work harder in a group because of your gender?
No, when we're working in a team, everything is been distributed equally, so I don't feel pressurized when working with multiple gender, like boys and girls in a group. So it's not a very tough for me to work with them.
Have you ever lost the chance to take important or leadership roles in group work because of your gender?
Surely not, because like as I've said, we're usually using the spin of the wheel technique to distribute the task, right? So every time we are doing it, it's a fair thing for everybody.
Okay, understood. So, do you experience gender discrimination during group work, like not only assignment, maybe like other group work? If so, could you provide an example or instance regarding your experience? But if not, could you provide an example like based on your observation?
So far, if it's like any university I have never been discriminated by the gender wise. Whenever there is a task to be had to be taken care, I never faced that thing. But in reality, we can see I've never experienced physically, but I've seen that the gender discriminations have been in the rise of the community.
So, do you agree that inequality occurs between different gender during group work?
Sometimes maybe we can see it, but in my case, I've never experienced that thing.
Do you feel like you have been treated unfairly in
Because of my gender, I've never, as I've said earlier, I've never been treated unequally. But in terms of the same gender, I've been treated unequally. Like I've done my part, but they feel like it's not. I'm not doing my part, so they treated me like they would tell to the lecturers that I've never done my part. But in reality, I've been doing it, but I don't know why they feel like that. I've never across it like I've never feel that towards like boys like that. But in between like girls and girls doing a group assignment, right? So I've been faced that.
I have the same feeling with you in your group? Which gender tends to take on the majority of the tasks, male or female or equal distribution?
I think mostly it's a female lah. So okay, okay, wait. I remember now. Sorry, I've worked with the seniors, a group of seniors, but I'm the only girl in that group. So the seniors like they were final year lah. So I feel like they've never taken accountability to their but I have to do my single handedly the report lah. I've done that one time when I was semester 5, if I'm not mistaken. I've done that. I'm sorry. I have experienced the gender inequality. I'm very sorry. I forgot that thing. I just remembered.
It's okay. Then we can proceed to the next question is how do you think the gender stereotypes influence group dynamics and interactions within group works?
Mostly I've seen like female and males work together to done their project papers, assignments, and works all. If you ask me from my experience, I would say like mostly the males would not do their part correctly. For example, they would put the overload on females and ask them to do it lah. But that's my opinion.
So in your opinion, how does gender diversity or the lack of career impact the overall effectiveness of your group work?
I work in this group, which is a very like there's an equal gender in the group, but I've never seen the difficulties in that. I've never seen like the workload has been distributed equally, and we have done the project earlier than expected, and we had also succeeded to get a good marks in that last.
The last question is what is the strategies, if any, do you think that can be implemented to promote gender equality and fairness within group work environments?
From my perspective, I think like usually the lecturers would say, right, you have to be in the mixed races in a group work, right? So I would suggest for the gender equality in a group lah. Like if the lecturers would allow it, like they have to be mixed gender in a group so that the workload has been distributed equally and the communication between the students would be more easy and effective. Secondly, I would like to encourage the students to go mingle with the other genders instead of picking your friends, like working only with the groups that you know, rather than doing it, go for new members, go find new students, classmates to work with, and gain more experience lah. That's my opinion.